All right, we are live. So, good evening, anybody out there watching. Shows one person on YouTube so far. So, good evening to whoever you are out there watching. Haven't said anything in the chat, so I don't know who it is. We are live on YouTube, Rumble, and X as always. All right. As usual, I am your host, Rich White. So far, we don't have a panel that has come in yet, but hopefully we'll get somebody to come in and join the panel. The invites that I've sent out. Now, I don't know how many out there have been following the Candace Owens fiasco, where she insists that she is the person that's going to solve Charlie Kirk's assassination, completely oblivious apparently to the fact. Oh no, wait, she's not oblivious because she says that the guy that they have in custody isn't the shooter. In fact, she came out, I believe it was today, and said that he's wasn't even on campus at the time that it happened, which is an absolute blatant lie because they got him on security camera footage being at the scene of the crime the day that it happened. So there's that. And earlier on X, I put out a post summarizing exactly what her theory appears to be. It's something like this: Israel, Egypt, the Mormons, some bee cult, as in the flying bzz, 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 bzz kind of bees, the ones that sting, make honey, that kind of stuff. Britney Spears, somehow, some weird way, Turning Point USA, and Erica Kirk, Charlie's widow, have, with the FBI, I forgot she also included the FBI, have all conspired to assassinate Charlie Kirk because he had randomly flipped to being anti-Israel and was becoming a Roman Catholic. That, in a nutshell, if you piece together everything that she's been saying since Charlie Kirk was killed, is her theory about what happened. She has no evidence of any of it. None. Her latest thing was that she completely and totally doxed a bunch of cars with license plate numbers and everything. Yeah, she's saying that too. Rob D out there on the YouTube side said the lady is saying the guy on video isn't the same guy they have in jail. Yeah, she's been saying that too, which has been shown to be verifiably wrong. But anyway, she doxed a bunch of cars, released license plate numbers and all that good stuff of people she's accusing of being Egyptian spies or some nonsense. Now, personally, the biggest flaw I see in her theory, well, other than the whole damn thing, I don't see Egypt and Israel working together on something like this. I really don't. And one of her big things that she calls evidence is a spreadsheet that shows Erica Kirk's private jet that she was taking somewhere was in the same flight lane as an Egyptian registered jet. Uh-huh, and that proves what exactly? That they were flying in the same flight lane? Like happens every single day in every flight lane in the country? And she's like, well, they made the same stop in the same place. But she doesn't give any dates and times for these things. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I seem to recall from when I've taken flights places and stuff, more than one plane uses an airport at a time. So I don't know. I'm not getting her connections here. And another big thing that she's claiming is evidence that people are trying to cover this up and um, betrayed and Charlie Kirk and everything is that his closest friends won't answer her questions. The closest friends that she is referring to are all people that were at the scene when he was assassinated. None of those people can answer her questions right now. They're all under a gag order from the judge who has been assigned at least to the preliminary aspects of the case. If any of them talk to her or any other reporter for them and answer any of these questions that she said it demands that they answer, they're all in contempt of court. Any of them that do. She knows this because she herself said that she's going to break the gag order, which doesn't even apply to her in the first place because she wasn't there. She's not a witness in the case. So the gag order doesn't even apply to her, but she said she was going to break it. So she knows the gag order exists. She knows who the gag order pertains to. And these are the people that she's throwing out there saying are covering up because they won't answer her questions. They can't. They answer her questions, they go to jail. Denny says, I wouldn't give her the Denny's plant-based journey on the YouTube side, by the way. He says, I wouldn't give her the time of day anyway. They don't owe her or anyone else their feelings and thoughts. Yep, exactly. And going back to the her doxing these people who she claimed are Egyptians with their cars and stuff. It's not the first time that she's doxed people. So a lot of people don't know her history. Back, way back, you gotta go in the way back machine to find this. She was a liberal commentator before and she wasn't very good. She wasn't on anybody's radar or anything really. And she had a website that she had created specifically for kids to go on there and dox their classmates. that they accused of being bullies. So she has a history of doxing people. This isn't out of the blue that she went and doxed these people. She's done it before. And that website got shut down. Barnaby Sanchez is over on the YouTube side. Evening to you, sir. And another thing we got to take in consideration, people she's accusing are people that she thinks have done her personal harm in the past. Specifically, at the top of the list of that is Ben Shapiro, who fired her from the Daily Wire. Pack Rat's Attic out in the YouTube chat, even to you, sir. So none of this with Candace is happening in a bubble. It's not out of her nature. She's done it before. Only now she's doing it inside the party that she says she's a member of. Denny says he's flown out of DFW, LAX, O'Hare, Atlanta, LaGuardia, and other major airports in the U.S. He's never seen more than one plane taking off or landing at the same time. Insert eye roll and heavy sarcasm. Yeah. I mean, I've never been on the tarmac waiting to take off and seen another plane on another runway taking off or landing at this. No, it's never happened. Mm-mm. I've flown out of Pittsburgh International a few times, into Atlanta. Let's see, Orlando, a couple other places. And yeah, I've never been sitting on the runway while one plane was landing and another was taking off. You know, it never happens. Never. Mm-mm. Again, this is with Denny. That's sarcasm. It happens every damn day. And planes, private planes in particular, they have to stop for refueling and whatnot, especially if they're flying cross country. Very few private planes can go from, say, New York to LA without having to stop somewhere. Smaller planes, smaller fuel capacity. You get the idea. So, I don't know. The best part is she had this spreadsheet that she was going off of. It's like, and again, the spreadsheet contained no times or anything like that. Packard says it's too dangerous. Anytime he's seen it, it's at a military base. Yeah. It's insanity. Insanity. It's absolute craziness. There's another way of putting it. Like I was saying, she's going after people that she thinks wronged her in some way. If you look at who she's, starting with Ben Shapiro, like I said, who just recently, earlier this year or last year, fired her from Daily Caller for, was it Daily Caller or Daily Wire? Whichever one he owns, fired her for saying things against company policy. I forget what it was she did, but she violated company rules and got fired for it. About the same time, all right, maybe a little bit before, Charlie Kirk much made it abundantly clear that he didn't want anything to do with her anymore. Yes, she absolutely. It's funny. Packrat just came in and he knows exactly who I'm talking about already. I don't know if I mentioned her name since he's been in here. I think I've only said she and her. I don't think I said his, but yeah, he knows exactly who I'm talking about. Then he says it was March 22nd, 2024. Okay. So, anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Charlie Kirk basically shunned her. Yeah, she attacked Ben for being Jewish. That's what it was. Yeah. I knew it was something, and she got fired for it. But yeah, so look at it now. With that in mind, Charlie Kirk basically shunning her, wanting nothing to do with her anymore. And Ben Shapiro firing her from his organization. The people that she's attacking are all friends or family of Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Jews in general, with the Israel thing, Egypt for whatever reason. And today she also put out that some of the Egyptians were actually Israelis that were disguised as Egyptians. It's like, what the hell? It's funny. I put out a post on X today that a lot of what she's doing historically, it reminds me of Muhammad. We're going to the Egyptian, we're going to the Islamic thing, sure. But it really does. If you look at what she's doing and you look at historically what Muhammad did, because at first Muhammad was like the Jews and Christians, uh, they're gonna see me, they're gonna see what I'm in their scripture and everything, and they're going to agree and tell everybody else that they need to follow me because I'm what the combination of their religions, right? That didn't happen. The Jews and Christians, knowing what was in the Old Testament in the Torah, according on the side of the Jews, and the Christians, the Torah and the Gospel, knew that Muhammad wasn't in there. Knew that what Muhammad was saying and everything made him a false prophet. So what happens from that point on? Muhammad starts vilifying Jews and Christians. The same way that Candace is vilifying who she claims are her friends or were her friends. Artek and Daughters out there on the YouTube side. Evening, sir. Bernie says, "Be careful what you say about Ben because his reach is wide." Mm-hmm. And Packer says, "Used to listen to her, but she lost him a long time ago." I've never really been a fan of Candace Owens. There was just something about her. I've never liked her. She just rubbed me the wrong way from when the first time I heard her talking about something. I was like, no, I've never bought into her shtick. No, she was attacking Steven Crowder today, or yesterday, calling him deep state because he spoke out against her. Yes, that. Oh, yeah, that's the latest thing too. If you're not one of the people she's attacking and you say something against her, that's because you're a member of the deep state. can't make this up. Yeah, Pack Rat. She's always right and you're wrong. I'm trying to remember. It was Steven Crowder and a couple other people. She said we're all deep state, and then anybody else that questions her and doesn't do what she says and believe her nonsense, you're all deep state and you're all out to get her. And Ron Two Matters is out there on the YouTube side. Evening to you, sir, as well. Yeah, it's really nuts, man. It really is. I'm going to kill that cat. Get rid of two big mouths. Now he decides it's his turn. Yeah. Now, I'm not a psychologist or anything. I'm not a psychiatrist. I have taken psychology classes. And with everything I just said with Candace Owens, and this is just my opinion, let me be perfectly clear. This is my opinion. I'm not stating this as fact. But the way she's acting, the way she's lashing out at people, it's almost like she has borderline personality disorder with narcissistic tendencies. Because they tend to do that if you question them or if they feel that you abandoned them, they lash out and they will attack. And Packrat says, so he doesn't sound bad. He's not a cat fan. Well, yeah, you're a rat, so that would rats don't and cats don't tend to get along well. Yeah, Denny says she's not the only one like that. There are a lot of those media personalities kind of go crazy with power and then expect everyone just to take them at their word. Narcissistic for sure. Yeah. Tucker Carlson's another one right lately. She was Pack Rat. She was, but then going back to what I was saying about the borderline personality disorder and her prior doxing thing, the Democrats shunned her when that happened. They turned their backs on her. So what does she do? She flips over and becomes and claims to be the biggest Trump supporter ever. So yeah, she was a Democrat until the Democrats called her out for something, took down her, and her doxing website was taken down. Then she flipped. So she's got a history of this. She's got a history of lashing out at people she thinks have abandoned her, wronged her in some way, however you want to phrase it. Yeah, it's not new with her. But yeah. And I've lost all. We're going back to Tucker Carlson when I was saying about him. I've lost all respect for him. Yeah, Packrat says he thinks that she, being Candace, is going. Owens is going back the other way. Yeah, but yeah, Tucker Carlson has had somebody on his show recently who was a mouthpiece at one time for the group in Nigeria who is committing the genocide against Christians in Nigeria to make the point that there's no genocide in Nigeria against Christians. This was after he had Nick Fuentes on his show, who goes around saying things like Hitler was a good guy and that we should have sided with Hitler in World War II and a bunch of, well, Stalin wasn't that bad of a guy. Tucker had another guest on there where Tucker said that Maduro down in Venezuela is not a bad guy. So, yeah, I've lost respect for Tucker Carlson too. I used to like Tucker. I used to watch his show all the time on Fox. But he lost his job on Fox, and now he seems to have lost his damn mind. And then he says, wow, that is nuts. Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And keep in mind, this all started with Tucker saying how great a guy Vladimir Putin is. And his softball interview with Andrew Tate. Packrat says Stalin was worse than Hitler. Yeah. Stalin just about starved the entirety of Ukraine to death in the lead up to World War II. Purged how many officers from the military? In other words, killed them. And killed numerous people in the gulags simply because they spoke out against him. It's estimated that he killed anywhere between 45 to 50, and that's being conservative on those numbers. That's 45 to 50 million, folks. That's who Tucker Carlson was laughing with Nick Fuentes saying isn't that bad of a guy. He's an absolute monster. And people don't know this too. Everybody knows Hitler because of the Holocaust and the killing of the Jews and all that. A lot of the people Stalin's responsible for dying are Jews, and in a higher number than what Hitler killed during World War II. After Hitler was defeated, George S. Patton tried his damnedest to persuade the leadership that we needed to go after Stalin and push them out of Eastern Europe. Patton was right. Patton was absolutely right. Then he says he just can't take him seriously with that goofy laughing almost psycho attitude. Yeah, talking about Tucker. I don't watch any of these guys anymore. I don't either. Occasionally I'll watch Steven Crowder, but Crowder's not a complete lunatic like Owens and Tucker Carlson seem to be anymore. Well, Candace Owens always was. Tucker seemed sane at one point. Now, Tucker has also claimed that he's been attacked by a demon in his sleep. He said him and his wife were sleeping with their hunting dogs. I'm guessing the way he phrased it, on their bed, and he woke up with claw marks all over his back or some nonsense. It's like, dude, you just might want to trim your dog's claws, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. You're sleeping in bed with your hunting dogs. You might want to check their claws. But he insists he was attacked by a demon. And that apparently this being attacked by a demon is what woke him up to things or something. I don't know. I don't know. Gary says may have been his wife. Yeah. Who knows? Denny says needs to get some counseling sessions. Yeah, maybe. You had and get some counseling sessions. So I'm assuming you're saying that in addition to checking his dog's claws. But yeah. Who sleeps with hunting dogs on their bed anyway? The way he said it, he had 3 hunting dogs sleeping with him and his wife. You know, I was always taught you isolated your hunting dogs from that situation because you want them to keep their senses sharp and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know. Then he says, yes, dog's wife or lie. Mm-hmm. Yep. Crazy times. Crazy, crazy times. Speaking of crazy times, Congress, from my understanding, both houses voted today to unseal the Epstein files. Democrats in the House pretty much voted no, from what I saw. Or maybe not. No, I take that back. There was one Republican that voted no. It was a different bill where the Democrats voted no. But yeah, there was one Republican that voted no. One Republican voted no because he's got this idea that they can't redact the names of innocent people. Clay Higgins, I think is the guy's name, voted no because the innocent people's names are going to be released. They outnumbered them manpower wise, but they didn't have the air assets that the Allies had. Manpower assets can be shrunken down exponentially through air power, and the Soviets would not have had air superiority. Yeah. So anyway, it looks like we are going to be seeing what's been compiled on the Epstein front. Which could come back and bite the Democrats in the ass. Also, on that front, Congress has subpoenaed Bill and Hillary Clinton, and they've both refused to appear before Congress. Anybody out there who doesn't understand exactly what that means, it is illegal to refuse to appear before Congress if you have been summoned. Both Bill and Hillary Clinton are refusing to do so. Again, this is in regards to the Epstein situation. Why? Gary says, true, but they had supply lines up to keep their troops supplied country indefinitely unless we did some massive bombing. Which, considering what we did to Germany, wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility that they would do that. Massive bombings would have been part of that presentation. I mean, the 8th Air Force wasn't just going to be sitting there twiddling their thumbs, if you know what I mean. Then he said, after all this time, he's betting that they have destroyed most of the Epstein files anyway. Maybe. So at this point, it's a sealed case. Case. There's unless there's an actual judicial order not to destroy evidence, the case is closed. There may not be as much as what people would like there to be, and the evidence isn't going to be what people are expecting anyway. Packard said, yes, they did. I believe it's going to be the next disaster for the Democrats, referring to them voting to unseal or release the Epstein files. Yeah. Then he says he'd already be in jail if it was him refusing Congress. Yeah. Okay. And it's not like the Clintons are the first ones to do so, but technically speaking, it is a crime to do so. So keep that in mind. It's not unlike the Democrats haven't refused to appear before Congress before, or just flat out lied to them. Yeah, and speaking of that, the delegate to the House from the Virgin Islands, which is a non voting member, apparently was on the congressional committee looking into the Epstein situation before he was tried, convicted, before he was, the whole killing himself thing. And while she was asking questions on the committee overlooking the Epstein thing, she was getting texts from Epstein about her performance, what questions to ask, and all this other kind of stuff of the witness that she was questioning at the time. Now, if she's a non-voting member, Why the hell is she on a committee in the first place? She's only there essentially to watch and maybe confer behind the scenes with things that she thinks are going to impact the Virgin Islands. That's it. That's what her role there is. She isn't supposed to have any kind of vote or anything, which means she should not have a committee appointment. She shouldn't have a seat on any of these committees. And she damn sure shouldn't be taking texts from the subject of a committee hearing in the middle of the committee hearing. Well, she's questioning somebody about what is going on. It shouldn't be happening. Defense dad's out there on the YouTube side. Packrat said he thinks they also subpoenaed Obama's. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't heard. What I've heard is that the Clintons were subpoenaed and they both refused. But it's very possible that they subpoenaed the Obamas. And Denny said, "Yep, that too is criminal." You would think doing that would be some form of criminal endeavor. You know, it's at the very least a conflict of interest. It's absolutely ridiculous. And again, why did she even have a seat on the committee? Which she still does, by the way. She still sits on that committee as a non voting delegate. Later, Pack Rat. It it's craziness. It's craziness. Um, anyway, I guess the cats in the background scared off Pack Rat. You know, like I said, rats and cats they don't get along. So people are probably getting ready to go over to Hillbilly's members chat too, because that's tonight. I wasn't planning on going very long, especially without a panel. If we had a panel, I did have a bracket set up, but that we can hold that off until Sunday at our normal time. Shouldn't have any reason this coming Sunday not to be able to do the show. This was extenuating circumstances that led to the show having to be tonight. That's basically what I had to talk about tonight as far as subject matter. It is going to be interesting to see just what they do have out of the Epstein files. It's it's still got to be approved by Trump, but he said he's going to sign off on it when it hits his desk. So there's that. Oh, there was one other thing. Last night on Gary's channel, we were talking about the National Reciprocity Bill. Both GOA and FPC have come out endorsing the bill. They both approve of the bill. They've both put out posts on X about it. I think the NRA may have as well. So there's that. You got to, speaking of X, there's a group of Democrat senators and Congress people putting out a video to the military and intelligence community telling them that they want them to step up and help overthrow the Trump authoritarian fascist government. Now, I could be off here, but especially in the case of the military, that's inciting a mutiny. That's a felony. By the way, all those senators and Congress critters that did that, they all are members of the Democratic Party. And it wasn't just like one or two. There was probably about 10 of them or more, or maybe a little more, that were in the video. It's getting crazy. Crazier and crazier. The president of Honduras has threatened to throw United States air assets out of a base in Honduras if we don't stop deporting people from Honduras who are here illegally. If it were up to me, I would say her terms are acceptable. We're going to keep throwing these people out, and if you don't like it, you can take your air base and you can shove it up your ass, lady. Yep. That's how I see it. Man, if she's not benefiting in some way from people from Honduras being in the United States illegally, why is she worried about us deporting them? Granted, all speculation, but considering when you've had the president of Mexico in the past state that illegal immigration to the United States was a major benefactor to their gross national product, you know, speculate away because if Mexico's doing it, Honduras is probably doing it too. Why again? Why else would she be getting mad about us deporting people that came to our country illegally if it's not in some way benefiting her in her country, according in her mind? Oops. Yeah, deport them all. I don't care. And my favorite one was on that front. Some Democrat in Texas, I think it was, running for office, and saying about how ICE needs to stop deporting this group and this group and this group, and only go after the criminals. They're all criminals. They've all broken the law. If they have a job, they've committed fraud. If their kids are in school, they've committed fraud. If they're getting food stamps or any kind or any kind of welfare payments, they've committed fraud. They have a driver's license, they've committed fraud. They would have to have fraudulent documentation allowing them to do any of that. And depending on the states, multiple cases of fraud, because in some states you have to have a photo ID to be able to get welfare. To get that photo ID, you would have to have fraudulent documents. To get that, is going to be a fraudulent illegal ID, so you can illegally, fraudulently get the welfare assistance. That's at least 3 counts of fraud right there. 3 counts of felony fraud, I might add, on the federal level. If your kids entered the country illegally with you and you enrolled them in school, that's another count. Actually, it's more than one count because you have to have documentation for your kids to go to school that has their names and stuff on it. So that's at least another 2 or 3 counts for fraudulent ID, plus the fraudulently enrolling them in school. You're looking at least 6 felony counts right there. Right there. 6. They're all criminals. Every single last one of them. Doesn't matter if it's a violent crime or not. It's still a crime, and it's costing us billions of dollars a year having to deal with this. Anyway, every one of these Democrats has said that they're going to harbor these fugitives in their cities and whatnot. Latest one being Charlotte, North Carolina. They all need to be arrested and charged with aiding and abetting a fugitive, and for obstructing justice at the very least. Every single one of them. Examples have to be made of somebody, some point. If all that's going to be done is talking, nothing's going to change. An example has to be made out of someone at some point to get it through these people's heads that this shit is not going to be tolerated anymore. Just because you're the mayor of a city, you don't get to flaunt federal law. The Constitution gives the federal government the right to oversee immigration, not your little city government, not your state government. That is an enumerated power of both Congress and the executive branch. The legislative and congressional and judicial, well, judicial gets, but that's another situation. It's a enumerated power of both the legislative and the executive branches of the federal government, not the city municipal government, not the state government. You don't get to make those decisions. And the fact that you've been allowed to do so this long is disgusting. Example has to be made somewhere so they get it through their heads that this is not going to be allowed anymore. It's gotten to the point where you now have people making fake AI videos of ICE enforcement officers allegedly attacking and beating people up. And every single one of those videos is fake. It never happened. But you have mainstream media putting these videos out there that these people are randomly posting on sites like Blue Sky, Facebook, and others as being factual videos. It's all made up bullshit. None of it ever freaking happened. None of it. Not one of those videos happened. When video experts have looked at them, they've all been made from AI. Every single one of them. Is this a rant against AI? No, this is about the illegal alien situation and now people attacking those whose job it is to enforce our immigration laws. This is just the latest way they attack them is using AI. They're still out there on the streets doing it, but now they're also going to be using their computers and creating fake videos and throwing them on the internet saying, see, look what happens, look what happens. And none of it's true. None of it's true. How you stop that, I don't know. I don't know if you can. Without tracing back whoever made the videos and suing them. I don't know what you would arrest them on. Obstructing justice, maybe? I don't know. Inciting violence? Because it's certainly going to do that. It already is. It already is. Anyway, we're coming up on an hour already. Wow, this show went by fast. I wouldn't. I didn't know if I was gonna, how long I was gonna be on tonight doing this. But those of you who are members over on Hillbilly's channel, over here on YouTube, that'll be Hillbilly Up, American Hillbilly, whatever you want to call him. I'm gonna wrap this up so y'all can go over there and watch his show. I know some of you out there probably are members of his channel. So thanks for jumping on for the last hour and listening to me just basically rant. I seem to be good at that, going on rants. So we will see y'all Sunday. Actually, see you tomorrow night twice because I'm going to, in addition to the usual spot where I go on Mr. Gizzard Gary's Wednesday chat for his members, I'm also going to be the guest tomorrow night on Mr. Ron Wayne's members chat tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you're not a member of Ron Wayne's channel, why not? Go over there and sign up. And if you are, I will catch you over there tomorrow night. So until then, have a good night, everybody, and we will catch you later.